Attorneys Ted Olson and Scott Boyce have filed a federal case to challenge the legality of Proposition 8 in California that amended the state constitution to ban same-sex marriages. Their suit states that the unequal treatment of gays and lesbians denies them the basic liberties and equal protection under the law that are guaranteed by the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. A hearing in federal court has been scheduled for January 2010, and the case may eventually reach the Supreme Court of the United States. On Friday, Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia lectured at Ohio State about the concept of originalism, whereby the United States Constitution has a fixed and knowable meaning, which was established at the time of its drafting. Justice Scalia believes that this is the appropriate way to interpret the Constitution, saying that, "My burden is not to show that originalism is perfect, but to show that it beats the other available alternatives. Did any provision of the Constitution guarantee a right to abortion? No one thought so for almost 2 centuries after the founding. Did any provision in the Constitution guarantee a right to homosexual sodomy? Same answer. The question is originalism a valid way to interpret the Constitution? Before we answer this question, we should stop to ask, has the validity of originalism already been answered by the original founders of our country? George Washington states that the basis of our political system is the right of the people to make and to alter their constitutions of government. Benjamin Franklin states that for having lived long, I have experienced many instances of being obliged by better information or fuller consideration to change opinions, even on important subjects, which I once thought was right, but found to be otherwise. Alexander Hamilton states that constitutions should consist only of general provisions. The reason is that they must necessarily be permanent and that they cannot calculate for the possible change of things. And Thomas Jefferson states that laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. As that becomes more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths discovered, and manners and opinions change. With the change of circumstances, institutions must advance also to keep pace with the times. Under the philosophy of these 4 founding fathers, the 14th Amendment was passed in 1868, abolishing slavery and establishing the Equal Protection Clause, and the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920, granting women the right to vote. If the concept of originalism was the basis of governance during these times, would slavery still exist, and would women still be treated as property? Our country has evolved from the confines of prejudices and ignorance based on race and gender, and we believe today that discriminating others based on race and gender is wrong, as men and women, as well as people of all colors, are equal to each other. Our country continues to evolve from further confines of prejudices and ignorance based on sexual orientation and gender identity, as studies have shown that gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people have the same capacity for humanity as people of any race and people of any gender. If our great nation and leading world power was founded based on the equal and inalienable rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and we start denying these rights to a suspect minority class of people on the basis of originalism, will our country start to devolve and fall behind? If originalism is really not considered the best basis to interpret the Constitution, then could originalism possibly be a cloak to hide personal biases of certain minority classes of people? And if Justice Scalia renders judgments based on these personal biases, including perceived homophobia, in the name of originalism, is the justice invoking not originalism, but judicial activism? Should we remind our Supreme Court justices the importance of using judicial restraint out of respect of all people? What do you think?